Hey everybody, my name is Chris Americos and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about 10 English words that are hard to pronounce. And before we get started here, press the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you get notifications every time there's a new video. So today we're talking about 10 words that are really hard to pronounce, and they're hard to pronounce for different reasons. Some of them have lots of letters together and sounds together, and it can be really hard to say them. Other words are hard because English speakers don't pronounce some of the letters in the words. And some of them are different between British English and American English. So we're going to look at 10 difficult words and we're going to explain why they're difficult, how you can remember how to pronounce them, and how to make sure that you say them correctly from now on. The first difficult word to pronounce is comfortable. Comfortable. Now this word is hard to pronounce because it looks like there's 4 syllables in this word, but when we say it, there's only 3. So this word looks like comfortable, but that's not how you should say it. If you say it like that, people are going to give you a strange look. Instead, you should say comfortable. 3 syllables. Comfortable. Comfortable. It's almost like we take out that O and R in the middle of the word.
Those must be comfortable shoes.
One way that I like to remember the pronunciation of this word is by thinking that comfort is a must. There's no option. There's no or in comfort. So comfortable, I just take out the OR, the or. I take out the option. It's a must. The second word that's difficult to pronounce is difficult for the same reason as the first word. This word looks like it has 4 syllables, but when we say it, there's only 3. And this word is vegetable. That's right, it's vegetable, not vegetable. So here we take out the second E and we say vegetable with 3 syllables.
Vegetables.
Next is our third difficult word, and this word is restaurant. Again, here, this word looks like it's 3 syllables, but when we say it, it's only 2 syllables. It's not restaurant, it's restaurant. So we take out that extra A and U in the middle of the word, and we squeeze the word together to make it restaurant.
A restaurant?
So next time you ask someone out on a date, make sure you take them to a restaurant, not a restaurant. What is a restaurant? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. It's better to say restaurant. Okay, the next 3 difficult words are difficult for 2 reasons. First of all, when people see them, well, it's difficult to pronounce them and to understand how we should pronounce them. But the second reason that these 3 words are difficult is because they're pronounced differently in American English and in British English. So people in different parts of the world might pronounce them differently. The first of these words is medicine. Now, you probably understand from my name, Chris Americos, that I'm American, or I'm from the United States. And this means that I pronounce this word medicine with 3 syllables.
Bad medicine.
But if you speak to one of my British friends, they're going to tell you that this word is medicine with 2 syllables. So in British English, typically people remove this extra I. So it depends on where you are and who you're speaking to. Some people say medicine, and some people say medicine.
Medicine?
The next difficult word is difficult for a similar reason. And in American English, we say literature with 4 syllables.
It's wrong to destroy literature.
But in British English, this is literature with only 3 syllables.
Literature.
So again, in British English here, we've removed another letter. We've removed the first E. So American English, literature. British English, literature. And the next word is also difficult for the same reason. In American English, this is military with 4 syllables.
Military.
But in British English, it only has 3, and it's military.
Military service.
So here we've removed the A from the word. Now, when I tell you that we've removed a letter from the word, that doesn't mean that we write it without those letters. No, we still write it with those letters, but we just don't say them. You're probably really happy that you're learning English. It doesn't matter what's written on the paper, you just say what you want, right? Ah, English. Okay, the next 2 words that are difficult to pronounce are difficult because they kind of sound like other words, or they're hard to pronounce because of the sounds in the words. And the first one of these is the word clothes. Now, I know that it's really difficult to say the sound and it's even more difficult to add a z sound after that. So all of you guys who are out there learning English right now, I hope that you understand that English, it's not the most beautiful language in the world. Because we say sounds like th, th, th. Just practice that a few times. Th, th, th. And then you can say this word correctly. Clothes. Clothes. Now, I think it would be pretty strange if you saw a bunch of people walking around at the shopping center saying, I want some new clothes. And that's why most English speakers don't even pronounce that word like that. They pronounce it very softly, or they pronounce it like a completely different word. Close. Like close the door. Close the door and put on your clothes. You probably couldn't tell if I said these two different words in a sentence. Clothes and clothes. Sure, you can see the difference in my mouth and my tongue, but can you really hear the difference? I probably couldn't.
Clothes.
The next word that's difficult to pronounce is the word work. You know, you have a job, you've got stuff to do, you have to work.
Work.
But for some reason, when a lot of English learners say this word, it sounds like walk. Like when you don't have a car and you need to use your feet to move around someplace. So let's practice these two words right now and understand how they're different. When we're on foot, we walk, walk, walk. And here you hear my American accent again with the ah, walk, walk. Notice that we do not pronounce the L in this word. We do not say walk. No. We say walk. Now let's repeat the other word. Work, work, work. This has the same sound as other words like girl or first or bird. Our ninth word that's hard to pronounce is the word months. And this is difficult to pronounce because, again, we have this TH plus S combination at the end of the word. So practice saying that separate from the word first. Yeah, English is so weird. Months, months. However, when people are speaking very quickly, sometimes it doesn't sound like months. Sometimes it sounds like months. Months. And we don't even say that extra th sound at all.
Months.
Isn't that great? You can completely forget about it. Well, only in this word. And the last word that's difficult to pronounce is actually one of many, and it's one of many in a category called cardinal numbers. Like when we say first, second, third. So first, second, and third are not so difficult. But as we continue and as we add on more and more numbers, they become more difficult. And we have things like fourth, fifth, sixth. Yeah, it can be really difficult to say those things with those combinations at the end, right? So let's look at the word sixth. Here we have the sounds k, s, th at the end. So just practice that separate from the word. K, s, th, k, s, th, k, s, th. Now let's combine them. Ks, th, ks, th. And all together. And that's how you can learn how to say the word sixth.
Happy 6th birthday, Timmy.
I hope you enjoyed this video about 10 words that are really hard to pronounce in English, and I hope you learned something that'll help you pronounce them better, more clearly, and more correctly. Hey everybody, Chris Americos here, and welcome to another video. This video is all about 10 words that I think you mispronounce. And I don't know you personally. We've never met, probably, right? Because there's a lot of you who watch these videos. But these are 10 words that I hear a lot of people mispronounce. And if you look at these words, it's kind of like, well, Chris, maybe you mispronounced them, right? And I understand what you're saying. Like, I understand that it looks like we should say it differently, but American English speakers and most native English speakers in the world pronounce them the way that I'm going to show you in this video. So get ready. Recently, I had the chance to go to Serbia and Russia and meet some of the people who watch these videos. and it was so great. And one of the things that I understood was that I should make more content about accent, pronunciation, and things that are related to speaking. So if you like that idea, go ahead and press like. But in this video, I'm going to talk about pronunciation. The first word that I hear a lot of people mispronounce is the word fruit. Now, there's two reasons why I think people mispronounce this. Probably because the combination of the letters U and I, well, many people see this and they say "oui," not just "ooh." So in English, we don't need to say "oui," just "ooh." We say fruit, fruit. Now, the second reason a lot of people mispronounce this is because they want to say fruits. Typically in English, we're going to just say fruit. And it's kind of strange because there's another word that a lot of people mispronounce, which is vegetable. And we usually say vegetables when we're talking about a lot of them. But with the word fruit, we typically just say fruit. And when we say fruits, which we don't say very often, this means that we're talking about different types of fruit. So typically the phrase goes fruit and vegetables. This is what most people say. Now, if you say it differently, will people not understand you? No. They'll understand you. They'll understand you just fine. So it's not a critical mistake, as I like to say. But it does sound a little different from how people say these things in most places where people speak English. That doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that it's different from how lots of people say it. The second word that a lot of people mispronounce is the word chaos. That's right, it's pronounced chaos. And it's probably because in some languages, when we use this word, the word is almost the same, and just one or two sounds have been changed. This word actually comes from Greek, Old Greek. And so maybe this first combination of sounds, C and H, maybe in your language, this makes a different sound. Maybe it was changed from Greek to your language and has a different sound there. Maybe the sound ch. In English, when we have a Greek word that we took and you can see the letter CH, usually CH from Greek words will make the sound k. In other English words, CH together makes the sound ch. And that's probably why a lot of people mispronounce it, is because when they see CH, they think, oh, it's English, so we should say ch. But no, this is a Greek word that we took and we made an English word. And in Greek words, CH makes the sound k. So that's the word chaos. And we can actually make an adjective from this word, chaotic. So these are connected words. Chaos is the noun, it's a thing, the thing that happens around us. Maybe when you go to work and you look at your desk, or maybe the desktop on your computer, this is chaos, right? And how someone behaves, the things that they do, their actions might be chaotic. You can even describe your day as a chaotic day. Now, the next word that a lot of people mispronounce, and this shouldn't be a surprise because I hear lots and lots of people from all over the world, from different countries, mispronounce this next word. It's the word recipe. Recipe. And when we look at this word, it doesn't look like that's how we should say it, right? So it can be confusing even to young English speakers who are just reading this word. They might know that the word recipe has a certain meaning, but when they read and they see this word, they might say something wrong like recipe, right? But that's not correct. So quickly they learn that this is how to write the word recipe. So it looks a lot different than how it's written. And this is confusing for everybody involved, native speakers and non-native speakers, whatever that means. So the word is recipe. And what does this word mean? Well, a recipe is a set of instructions of how to do something. Today, people might go to YouTube and write how to, and then the thing that they want to learn how to do. Like if you write how to speak English, then you'll probably find my English everyday program where every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, you can just speak with me and other native speakers and with friendly students from all around the world. So if you Google how to speak English, then you'll find this program called English Every Day. But if you Google how to bake a cake, then you need to choose a type of cake. And this special type of cake has special instructions about how to make it. Well, that's called a recipe, right? A recipe is not something that a doctor gives you. It's not about medicine. It's about cooking food, usually. Okay, the next word that we need to talk about is the word chocolate. That's right, it's called chocolate. And that means it has two syllables, chocolate, chocolate. There's two sounds, right? Two parts of this word. I hear people mispronounce this word for a couple different reasons. First of all, people see it and they think that there should be three sounds. They think it's chocolate or chocolate. Both of these are wrong. It's just chocolate. Now, you've probably seen this with some other English words where we take out the middle syllable and just push the other two together. In some versions of English, this is clearer than in others. And there are different words where we do this in different accents and different dialects of English. So in American English, it's always chocolate. And the second reason a lot of people mispronounce this word is because of CH at the beginning of the word again. Now here, it is pronounced ch, like in an English word. But this is not an English word. This is a French word. And if you know anything about French or pronouncing French words in English, then you know that usually in French words, CH makes the sound sh, like in the word chauffeur, like a person who drives a car. In English, we usually say chauffeur, a driver of a car, a professional driver, right? Or there are many other cases where French words that start with the letters CH become sh in English. But not in this word, no. In this word it stays ch, like in an English word. So it's chocolate. Probably because English people mispronounced this French word in the past. Okay, the next word that we need to talk about is a type of nut. It's the word almond. And this might sound a lot different from what you imagine it should sound like in your mind when you read this word on the screen. But the pronunciation is almond. Almond. There are a couple different ways that people might mispronounce this word, or they might pronounce it differently. So, first of all, we don't pronounce L. This is what most native speakers say. They don't pronounce L, they don't say almond. But sometimes some people from some places might make a mistake if they don't know that it's a silent L. A silent L means it's an L that we don't say. So it's almond, almond. And at the end of this word, there's also the letter D. And in many versions of English, we don't pronounce this D very strongly. In fact, some people might not pronounce it at all. You might hear something like almond, or you might hear something like almond with a small sound at the end instead of this D sound. In any case, it's not going to be a hard D. It's not going to be almond, right? No one will say it like that. But if you pronounce the L and if you pronounce the D, will people understand you? Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, this mispronunciation of this word isn't so bad. It's not critical. Now, earlier in this video, I told you that I went to Serbia and Russia recently, and a lot of people contacted me and said, Chris, when will you come to my country? People invited me to Malaysia, to Japan, to Argentina, to Brazil, to South Africa, to Egypt, to Morocco, and many other places too. And I just want to say that if you'd like for me to come to your country and do a conference or a seminar, like I did when I went to Serbia, then just contact our support team. You'll find their email address under this video, and we can discuss how we can make that work, okay? And I'll be happy to come to your country because I'm really interested in seeing new places and meeting new people. Now, the next word that we need to remember to pronounce correctly, and I hear a lot of people mispronounce, especially when I travel to their country, is the word jewelry. Jewelry. And I understand why people mispronounce this word. There's probably two reasons. The first one is the word jewel is kind of difficult to pronounce in the first place, right? So a jewel is a special type of rock, usually. It's something that we can put into a necklace or a bracelet or a ring. And when we make a ring, a bracelet, or a necklace, now it's called jewelry. So they're jewels that people can wear. And today, the word jewelry is not only about things with jewels, with special rocks like diamonds and rubies and emeralds. No, jewelry can be any of these things that we wear to look more beautiful, right? But they're things that are usually made of metal. So a necklace, a bracelet, a ring, maybe earrings, but also maybe a nose ring, a lip ring, an eyebrow ring, or even a belly button ring. I'm pointing to my stomach. Just don't get scared. A belly button ring, yeah, that's what it's called. So in English, it's kind of easy with jewelry, different types of jewelry, right? You just say the part of the body and say ring after it, and you're probably correct. So the word jewel has two syllables, two sounds, two parts, right? Jewel. But when we talk about these things that we wear on our body, we say jewelry. So we skip that middle syllable again, and it becomes jewelry with two sounds. Now, if you mispronounce it and you say jewelry, what's going to happen? Everybody will understand probably. So it's not critical. But it is important to sound like the people that you need to communicate with to make communication easier. So in that case, it's good to know that this word is pronounced jewelry. Okay, the next word that we're going to talk about is enthusiastic. Enthusiastic. Now this has a lot of syllables, right? Enthusiastic. 5 syllables in this word. And I can understand why it's difficult to pronounce. I mean, look at it. When we see that written, it's like, ooh, I don't even want to say that word. But probably this word is similar to something in your language. And enthusiastic is how you might feel when you have a lot of enthusiasm, which might be even more difficult to pronounce. So this combination of words, enthusiastic, enthusiastic, this is hard to say sometimes, just to get these letters and sounds out of our mouths, right? And into the world. Enthusiastic. So just repeat it a few times with me. Enthusiastic, enthusiastic. Now, with words that are long like this, 5 syllables or maybe even longer, it's very common for us to have 2 stresses in the word. In some languages, you can only have 1 stress, but in English, we can have a weak stress and a strong stress. And in big words, we usually have both. So we can see that here. We go enthusiastic, enthusiastic.
Oh, very enthusiastic. This is so great.
Okay, the 8th word that we're going to talk about today that many people mispronounce is the word world. I said the word world. Do you hear the difference between these 2 words? They're not 2 different worlds, but they are 2 different words. So we have to add this L sound between R and D, and it can be difficult sometimes. So the correct pronunciation of this word is world, world. So imagine that you're just saying were, like in the past, like I was and you were, and then we have to add this L sound, whirl. This is a different word. The word whirl means to go around in a circle, right? So we have were, I was, you were, whirl, d. So actually the past tense of this verb to whirl is whirled. He whirled it at me. He threw something at me in a circle. He whirled it at me. So this could be a verb, right? And this could be confusing with the word world, which is about the planet Earth. Our planet, the world.
What in the world?
That's how you pronounce it, world. I hope that helps. Okay, the next word that we need to talk about is photograph. Now, in some countries, in some languages, the word photograph looks very similar to the word in your language for the person who takes photographs. But in English, this person is a photographer. And photograph has a different stress. And that's why a lot of people mispronounce it. We've got the word photo with O, not phota or something like this, right? It's photo. So you can take a photo, you can take a photograph, but if you're the person who takes photos or photographs, then you are a photographer. So here the second O changes to the sound ah, photographer. That's different. So that's how you pronounce that word. And then what are we doing here? What is this topic, this subject? It's photography. So we have photo and photograph, but photographer and photography. So we've got one word left, and thank you so much for staying with me this long in the video, because it's important to know how to pronounce words. And that doesn't mean that you're right or wrong if you pronounce them like this or you don't. What it means is that statistically, most people who are born speaking English say it this way. This is just the way that most people in the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, this is how most people say it. So that's what we're talking about today. So when I say that native speakers say it this way, that's what I mean. I don't mean that it's right or wrong. I just mean that if we look at the statistics of the people who live in the countries that we call English-speaking countries, this is how they say it, right? Myself included. So the last word that you need to know about today is the word hotel. Hotel. So this word has a soft sound at the beginning, and this sound is probably a little different from the sounds that you have in your language. Maybe in your language you have the sound or something similar to this. But in English, H is very, very soft. It's really, you're just breathing out, just exhaling, breathing out. So it's hotel, hotel. And you might not even hear this H sound, right? It's hotel, hotel. The important part of this word is that we do not stress the O. It is not hotel. It's not this word. Although you can find a very funny rap song by the singer Ludacris. I like him because he has the word Chris in his name, right? And his real name is Chris. Ludacris is his name, and he has a song, and he mispronounces this word for a different reason, for a special reason. And I'm not going to talk about that in this video. But it's wrong to say hotel. Instead, we should say hotel, hotel. And what do you do in a hotel? You do not live in a hotel. At least I hope you do not live in a hotel. It's fun for the first couple days, but after a while, not so much. No, you don't live in a hotel. You stay in a hotel. Recently, I was traveling. I was in a hotel. I checked in. I registered for my room. And the lady there said, "Welcome, and you will live in room 1031. And I thought, I'm only here for one night. I'm not gonna live there. I'm going to stay there, right? She made a mistake. She said to live in a hotel room. That's not what we do. We stay in a hotel room, not live. So when we talk about hotels, right, that's how we pronounce it, hotel, hotel. When we talk about staying in hotels, we should use the verb to stay, not the verb to live. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, press like, press subscribe, and leave a comment down below to let me know that, hey, you liked it.
In this video, we're going to talk about 10 English words that are hard to pronounce. Hey everybody, Christopher here from chrisamericos.com, where you can speak with native speakers every day and practice English. And before we get started, do me a favor and click that subscribe button so you see more videos like this. Now in this video, we've got 3 words that are pronounced differently in American English and in British English. And make sure you stay till the end of this video because the last word on this list is a word that even native speakers mispronounce all the time. I know this video is going to help you with your pronunciation and it's going to make your English a lot better. So let's jump right in. The first word on this list is a day of the week. It's the day that comes after Tuesday and before Thursday. It's Wednesday. A lot of people mispronounce this word because of how it's spelled. When you write this word, the letter D is in it. But when you pronounce this word, you don't say it. That's what makes it tricky. So it's not Wednesday. It's Wednesday. There are not 3 syllables in this word. There are only 2 syllables. You can count the syllables of a word like beats on a drum. So again, it's not Wednesday. That would be 3 syllables. It's Wednesday. 2 syllables.
Wednesday!
The second word on our list is one of my favorite things in the world. And a lot of people mispronounce it, again, by saying 3 syllables instead of just 2. Sometimes I like to make and eat s'mores, which is 2 graham crackers, a marshmallow, and a piece of chocolate. That's the word, chocolate. It's not chocolate, not 3 syllables. It's chocolate. 2 syllables. And it's so good. Now, I personally like milk chocolate more than dark chocolate, but leave a comment down below and let me know what you like more. Do you like milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Chocolate?
Okay, word number 3. This word is about me. It's a person who starts and grows businesses. You might be thinking this word is businessman or businesswoman. But there's another word, and it's kind of hard to pronounce. This word is entrepreneur. It's an English word, but we took it from French. An entrepreneur is someone who starts businesses, like me.
An entrepreneur.
The 4th word on our list is about geography. It's a type of land that's surrounded by water. It's an island. A lot of people mispronounce this word because it has a silent S. We don't say Island or Iceland. Iceland is a country, but funny enough, the country of Iceland is on an island. So this word is 2 syllables, island, but we don't pronounce the S. I wonder if any of the people watching this video live on an island. If you do, let me know which island you live on. When I lived in Hawaii, I lived on an island. The name of that island was Oahu.
What is this island?
Okay, the next word on our list is something that usually women wear, but men can wear it too. It might go on their ears, might go around their neck. This word is jewelry. And the reason a lot of people mispronounce this word is, again, because of the syllables. It looks like it should be 3 syllables. It looks like jewelry, but it's not 3 syllables, it's only 2 syllables. Jewelry. I personally don't wear jewelry, but a lot of women wear earrings and necklaces, and men might wear chains around their necks.
Oh, jewelry.
Okay, the next word might surprise you, and it's a little controversial. So I'm sure there are some YouTubers out there who might say that I'm not saying it correctly or that I am saying it correctly, but there are 2 different ways that people pronounce this word, and that's what's confusing. So it's not really a mistake if you say it one way or the other way, but a lot of English books and English teachers will tell you that there's only one right way. This word is often, but some people will say often. And that's really confusing. Why English? Why? That's right. Some people don't pronounce the T in this word, and some people do. So some people say often, and some people say often. I personally hear often more than often, but I hear both of them.
Often enough.
More often than I ever imagined.
All right, the next 3 words are pronounced a little differently in American English and in British English. I'm gonna give you the American version, and I'm gonna try my best to give you the British version. So our next word is about when you do things. It's your schedule. That's how we say it in the United States, schedule. But in British English, they say schedule. So in American English, this combination of letters, S-C-H, we say schedule, sk. But in British English, they say this combination of letters as sh, schedule. Why can't English just do things one way?
Today's schedule? Schedules are important.
Our next word is another word that is pronounced a little differently in American English and British English, and this is about how hot or how cold something is. It's the temperature. And because I'm from the United States, I say temperature. So at the end of this word, you can hear me saying temperature. And when someone isn't feeling very good, they're sick or they're ill, someone might say, he has a high temperature. But in British English, they don't say this sound at the end of the word. Instead, they say temperature. So the end of the word has the sound instead of the sound. Now, this word is confusing and hard to pronounce for a different reason too, because of the syllables. It looks like it should be temperature, 4 syllables. But when we pronounce it, it's only 3 syllables. Temperature.
Room temperature is 22 degrees Celsius.
Rising body temperature, unusual energy readings.
All right, now we're on our 9th hard word to pronounce in English, and this word is an animal. And it's a little different in British English and in American English because there are different numbers of syllables in how people usually pronounce this word. Because Americans and Brits usually say it with a different number of syllables. At least that's how it sounds. This is an animal that likes to climb trees and collect nuts. You've probably seen one of these before. And when we see it in the United States, we call it a squirrel. So it sounds like it has 1 syllable, and it sounds a lot like the word girl. Squirrel, girl. But in British English, it tends to sound like it has 2 syllables. Squirrel. It's a very small difference, but we're both talking about the same thing.
Said the squirrel.
Squirrels.
Yeah, squirrels.
And our 10th and final word of this video is a word that even native speakers mispronounce all the time. At first, I was really surprised when people mispronounced it because I'm an English teacher and I thought everybody knows how to pronounce this word. It's just the people who are learning English that make this mistake. But it turns out that a lot of native speakers do this too. This word is again about an animal, about a fish, and it's a very yummy fish. I love eating this. And the name of this fish is salmon. But that's confusing because there's an L in this word, but the L is silent, so it's salmon. So you might be wondering, well, what's the mistake then? It's a mistake to say salmon because the L is silent. It's salmon. But sometimes I hear native speakers say salmon, and I'm always surprised.
Salmon.
Now, just watching a video and hearing me pronounce these words isn't really going to help you speak English better. That's why we've created the English Everyday program where you can speak with native speaking teachers every single day. I noticed a big problem that a lot of people who are learning English only learn from videos and books, and they never get the chance to speak. I talked to thousands of students around the world, and they all told me the same thing. I need a speaking partner. I need speaking practice. And that's why I created the English Everyday platform. So if you are like thousands of other English learners who need to practice speaking English, not just listening to it, not just reading it, but actually speaking it and having teachers who are professional and can correct your mistakes, then click the link under this video and check out the English Everyday program. The next lesson is starting very soon. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it helps your pronunciation, and I will see you in the next video. If you are learning English, You have to watch this video. I'm going to give you 10 words that are very commonly used in English that are also very commonly mispronounced by English learners. So you need to know these words, and at the end of this video, you're going to know how to pronounce these 10 words correctly. I'm Christopher from ChrisAmericoast.com, where we speak English with you every day and improve your level of English in 30 days or less. And one of the keys to mastering English is knowing the right pronunciation of words. Some words are easy to understand, like dog and cat, but some words, when you see them, they look like you should say them differently than the real pronunciation. And that can be a problem because these are common words that are small words that all native speakers know how to say. And when someone mispronounces a lot of these words, then it can cause confusion and people might not understand you. So you need to know these words. Let's get into it. Number 1 on this list is the word cupboard.
In the cupboard.
And it looks like cupboard. And that's probably why it's so confusing, because we don't pronounce the letter P in this word. Why is that letter even there? Sometimes it drives me crazy. English, why do you do that to us? And this word is pronounced cupboard. What is a cupboard? It's a place where you put cups and dishes and bowls and plates. So it makes sense that it has the word cup on it. And usually this is a board of wood that you put them on. So it makes sense that it's cupboard. If it's a board, you put your cups on, right? So why do we say cupboard? That's a good question. And if you know the history of this word, go ahead and write that in the comments under this video. I'm sure it'll be useful for everyone. So your mom might say, put the dishes in the cupboard.
It was my cupboard the whole time.
Word number 2 on our list is pliers.
Hey, you found my needle-nose pliers!
We have a verb to ply something. Maybe you know the verb to apply, like to apply to a job, but pliers are a special tool that you use. No, not scissors. These are pliers. So why is this word confusing or mispronounced? Because the Y in the verb to ply changes to an I. So it's not written with a Y, but with an I. I. And another important thing about this word is that it's always plural. We always say pliers. We never say, give me a plier. What would that even mean? Other plural words like this are scissors, pants, shorts, glasses. These words always come in a pair. There's always 2 parts of them. And if we say the singular version, then it usually means something different.
Hand me the pliers.
The next word is very, very common. You've probably heard this word a million times, but maybe you still mispronounce it. And that's the word hour. And no, it's not the word hour like this is our video that we're making right now. No, I'm talking about the word hour like 60 minutes makes 1 hour. Or like the speed limit on the road. You can drive 60 miles per hour, but probably in your country, kilometers per hour. So the important thing to remember about this word is we don't pronounce the H at the beginning. It's silent. So it's never hour. It's always hour. How many hours are there in a day? There are 24 hours in a day. How many hours are there in a leap year? Write in the comments and let me know. I'm really curious about that.
Hours and hours.
The 4th word that we're talking about today is the word honest. And again, this one has a silent H at the beginning. If someone is honest, it means they tell the truth. They don't lie. That's a very important quality in a person. The opposite of honest is dishonest. And you can go to Kevin's channel to see that. So if someone tells the truth all the time, we can say, he is very honest. He's an honest person. Sometimes people who are learning English mispronounce this word and they say honest, and that's not correct. It's honest with a silent H.
Honest.
Now with the last 2 words, hour and honest, they both have a silent H, and that means that the first sound of the word is a vowel sound, ah. And this too can be very confusing for people who are learning English, because before a consonant sound, like ha, like the word horse, then we need to say a or a, so it's a horse. But before a vowel sound, we need to say an. And because our and honest both start with a vowel sound, not a consonant sound, because the H is silent, then we need to say an before these words. So we can say, he is an honest person. Or we can say, he makes $100 an hour. Go check out our video about a and an on our channel to learn more about that. But also it can be very confusing when you hear a native speaker pronounce these words because the an and the next word will blend together. So we don't usually say an hour, we say an hour.
An hour?
And we don't usually say an honest person, we say an honest person. So it kind of sounds like a non-honest person. It sounds like in becomes the first sound of the next word. This is called blending. And we have a video on our channel about blending sounds too.
He's a good cop and an honest person.
The next word is a tool or an instrument that's used for measuring things. It can show how big something is or how thick something is, and it's called a gauge. You can use gauges for all sorts of things.
That's the fuel gauge.
And there's a verb too, to gauge something. And this means to measure something or to consider how big or small something is. Like we might say, she told him she loved him and gauged his reaction. This means she watched and she tried to measure, tried to understand his reaction. Now, this word is difficult to pronounce for people who are learning English because it doesn't look like how it is pronounced. It looks like gouge. And that's actually a different word with a different meaning. So you don't want to say that. This is gauge. The correct pronunciation is gauge.
Tire gauge.
Okay, number 6 is a word that is very common. It's used a lot. Native speakers say this all the time, especially when there's someone who is sick or ill or doesn't feel good around them. This is the word cough. And this word is difficult to pronounce when you're learning English because there's a GH at the end, and sometimes GH is just silent. So it's hard to understand when you're supposed to pronounce it like F and when you're supposed to not pronounce it at all. And to make it worse, in some words, this combination of letters is just pronounced like G. But the word cough means to do this. You should always cover your mouth when you cough, right? We might say, Kevin lied to his audience and then he coughed. Sometimes when people cough, it shows you that they're not confident about what they said or that they're not telling the truth. Also, people who smoke a lot cough a lot.
Cough. Cough.
But to everybody who's watching this video, I hope you're in good health and you're not coughing right now. It would be hard to hear what I'm saying in this video if you were coughing the whole time.
Cough.
The next word, number 7, is the word to laugh. So again, we see GH pronounced like F. And to laugh means to do this. Ha 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 ha. You laugh when something is funny.
Laugh.
So if somebody tells you a joke, you might laugh if that joke is funny. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Okay, that's not funny. So to laugh is a verb and the noun is laughter. For example, Kevin heard a lot of laughter as he walked into the room. It probably didn't help that he was dressed as a clown.
Circus laughter, there's no greater high.
The next word on our list is a word that describes a group of people who sing. And this is a choir. Yes, that's right. It's not choir and it's not choir. It's a choir.
Choir?
The choir sang a beautiful song. And this word is difficult to pronounce for people who are learning English for 2 main reasons. First of all, we have CH that sounds like K. But this is one of the pronunciations of CH. And you can see our video about how to pronounce CH in different situations if you go to our channel. But the second reason this word is difficult to pronounce is because O and I together don't usually make the W sound. Maybe in French they do, but in English they typically don't. Usually they make the sound oi, like in the word oil or boil. But in this word, O plus I makes the W sound. So this word is choir. The 9th word on our list is the word subtle. And this word has a silent B in it. That's right. Don't pronounce the B. Don't say subtle. That's not a word. Something that is subtle is not obvious, or it's not immediately clear what it is.
Subtle.
So we could say, he subtly took the pen off of the desk. It means he did it without people noticing or without drawing a lot of attention to doing it.
An idea is suddenly implanted in your head.
And the last word, the 10th word on our list today, is the word vehicle. And this word describes cars, motorcycles, things that have an engine and usually have wheels. It's different kinds of transportation, and this one word describes a big category of different things.
Vehicle after vehicle.
But it can be tricky for people to pronounce when they're learning English because of that H. The letter H in the middle of this word, we don't say it really. We say vehicle, we do not say vehicle. And do you have a vehicle? Do you drive a vehicle? If you do, let me know what you drive in the comments under this video. I drive a vehicle, and to drive a vehicle in the United States, you need a driver's license. And when you have this driver's license, you can then operate or drive certain types of vehicles. And there are different licenses for different types of vehicles. The government office that gives you a driver's license is called the Department of Motor Vehicles. So if you want to go anywhere when you're in the United States, you need to know this word.
Department of Motor Vehicles new driver handbook.
And now that we've talked about 10 different words that are difficult for English learners to pronounce, but they're very important because people use them in everyday situations, now you know how to pronounce them and you can go use them. And the best way to use them is in real practice with real people. So if you want to practice speaking English every day with me and other native speaking teachers, click the link under this video to check out our English Everyday program, where you will improve your English in 30 days or less. Most students only need 2 to 3 days to break the language barrier, and it's really amazing to see. So I would love to see that happen for you too. If you like this video, press like, press subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 words that are really hard to pronounce. And if you already speak English, if you're a native speaker, you still might think that some of these words are really hard to pronounce because they're just hard to pronounce. I mean, when you look at them, you're going to know. But that's not the only reason. I'm going to tell you why they're hard to pronounce, and I'm going to tell you the right way to pronounce them so that you don't make mistakes. Although sometimes even native speakers make mistakes with these words. My name's Christopher Huntley, and I'm from chrisamericos.com, where we help you speak better English in 30 days or less. And yes, it can happen for you. Go to chrisamericos.com to learn more about that. And we would love to speak with you at our next lesson. But today, we're talking about 10 words that are really hard to pronounce. And the first one is though. And when you see the letters that are in this word, you probably don't think it looks like though, right? Though kind of sounds like T-H-O. Why? English. What is the problem, English? Why can't you just write words how they look or how they sound? Why can't you make it easier? I don't know. I'm with you. I don't like all these silent G-H words, but we have a lot of them in our list today. So this word is though. And we usually use it in a sentence to show that something is different from what we expected. Like, it didn't rain, I still brought my umbrella though. Or, although I brought my umbrella, it didn't rain. So we have the word although, which is very similar to this word. And they sound the same, and it looks like we just cut off the A and the L from the beginning of the word. This word is though. And it's really important that we talked about the first word, though, because the next words look very similar to this word, but they sound different because English is a crazy beast that you have to tame. Come here, English. So check this out. If we add the letter R after TH in the word though, then it's not though anymore, and it's not throw. No. It is not throw. Now it is through. So now the O-U-G-H makes the ooh sound instead of the O sound. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I agree with you, sister. Now the word through has a lot of different meanings, but it's basically talking about going from one side to the other. Like you could say, the ghost flew through the wall, Or he hit the ball through the window. So this word has an R in it, and it is through. But when we take the R away, it's just though. But here's something else that we can do. We can add a T to the end of it. And then it's not though, and it's not through. Instead, it's just thought. Yeah, now it sounds like aw, and we pronounce the T. Ought. So the first word was though, and the second word was through, and the third word is thought. I hear what your brain is telling you right now. So Chris, you mean that these 4 letters, O-U-G-H, sound different in all of these words, but it's the same letters? Yes. That's insanity! Yes. But the word thought is something that happens in your head, like an idea. It can also be the past tense of the verb to think, like today I think and yesterday I thought. But what happens if instead of adding letters, we take a letter out? What if we take out the letter H at the beginning of this word? So instead of TH, it's just T at the beginning. Well, now it's not though, it's tough. So sometimes this 4-letter combination of O-U-G-H sounds like O, sounds like oo, sounds like aw, and sounds like uff. Why does anybody want to learn English? Yes, this word is tough. And the reason I'm including it in this video is it's tough to remember how to pronounce this word. Tough means something like difficult. We can also use tough if we're talking about food like meat. If it's not tender and soft, then it might be hard and tough. Tough can also mean that it's difficult to break it, like it's strong. He's a tough guy. That could mean he's strong, or it could mean that he's difficult. So we started with though, then we had through, then we had thought, and now we just had tough. It can't get any more complicated than that, right? Wrong. There's one more word that is similar to all of these other words that we've just looked at, and it's number 5 on our list today. And when you see this word, you might start thinking in your brain, why English? Why do this to me? Why? Have some mercy. But this word is thorough. If you do something thoroughly, it means that you do all of the steps, or you do it very carefully, or you pay attention to all of the details. You do it very correctly. You do it thoroughly. So at the end of this word, we have R-O-U-G-H. And we just had the word T-O-U-G-H. T-O-U-G-H was tough. So it looks like we should say rough at the end of this word. Rough, rough. Yes. But that's not what we're going to do, because this is English and it's full of surprises. So instead, it's thorough. Thorough. Say it with me now. Thorough. Thorough. Do it how Kevin does it with a creepy smile. Thorough. The 6th difficult word to pronounce is not a word that starts with T or H, and you probably are so thankful for that after the last words that we had. No, the 6th word on this list is the word whistle, and this word has a silent T. It's not whistle, it's whistle. And to whistle is a verb. It describes when a person, well, whistles, when they put their lips together and they blow air and it makes a sound. This is whistle, or to whistle. There's also a thing that you can blow into that makes a loud sound. People use this in sports events a lot. It's called a whistle. So remember, this word has a silent T. The word is whistle. And some people say, don't whistle indoors, or don't whistle inside. What do you think? In your country or where you live, is there a tradition to whistle only outside? Where can you whistle? I want to know, where can you whistle? Let me know in the comments. And that brings us to our 7th word on this list, which is the word to sew. And this one is no, not that so, not the so that means very, right? And not so like okay or average. No, this is a different word completely. This word is to sew. It's usually a verb, and when we say that somebody is sewing, it means that they're using a needle and thread and they are making clothes or fixing clothes. There might be a sewing machine that they use and they put the clothes under it, and there's a needle that puts the thread there and it makes the clothes or fixes the clothes. So this is called sewing, and it's very strange because it has the letters S-E-W, which looks like Sue. But Sue is a different word with different letters and a different meaning. So it's super confusing. Super confusing, not super confusing. Yeah, like English is crazy. So the word here is sew. And maybe you have a sewing machine at home. Write in the comments and let me know if you know how to sew. That's right, we pronounce it sew with the O sound at the end. Okay, the 8th word on our list is a word that's pronounced a little differently in British English and in American English. And that's always great, right? You love those kinds of words because when you're learning how to pronounce a new word, the best part is when there's more than one thing to learn, right? No. Well, too bad, because that's what we get in this word. And in American English, this word is pronounced leisure. Leisure. This is something you do when you relax, when you're not working, when you're not trying hard. You might be sleeping or resting or doing something that does not require a lot of thinking or work. This is leisure. But in British English, they pronounce it differently. I'm going to go for it. So hopefully someone who speaks British English can tell me if this is right or wrong. But I believe it's leisure. Leisure. So in American English, leisure. In British English, leisure. Tear me apart in the comments if I'm wrong. Excellent. Let's go to number 9. Because the number 9 word is a very important word. It's used in a lot of places. You need to know it, but a lot of people don't know it. And it's confusing for 2 reasons. There's a word that maybe you already know, which is the verb from this noun that we're going to talk about. But also there's a silent letter in the noun form. And this word that we're talking about right now is the word receipt. This word has a silent P in it. So we don't say receipt, we say receipt, which is kind of confusing because we have other words where you do say pt at the end, like script or kept. But no, not in this word. This is receipt. Now, it might also be difficult to remember how to pronounce the combination of E and I, because why do you say E, receipt, and not recite? Well, recite is a different word, and it's spelled differently. Well, one way to remember this is that we have the verb to receive something, to receive. It's also spelled C-E-I. And growing up at school in America, our teachers taught us this funny rule, I before E, except after C. And this was a way for us to remember how to spell words. So if there was the letter C, then we do not do I before E. This was the rule, right? So that's why we have C-E-I. And this helpful rule helped me remember how to spell this word for my entire life. Now, does this rule work 100% of the time? No, nothing does, really. But it can be helpful. And it works in this case, so let's use it. What is a receipt? A receipt is a piece of paper that you get back from a shop or someplace where you buy something after you pay. So you give them the money, they give you the thing that you bought, and they give you a piece of paper that says that you bought it. That's a receipt. What it really says is that they have received money from you. All right, let's go to our 10th and last word of this video. But before we jump into that, let me know in the comments, do these pronunciation videos help you? Is it interesting for you to hear how to pronounce different words that maybe are confusing or tricky or spelled in a strange way, like some of the words today? What do you think? Let me know in the comments and I will make more of them. In fact, you can write the words that are confusing to you in the comments down below and I'll make a video about them. How about that? So the next word on our list is the word genre. And this is a confusing or difficult to pronounce word because it's not really an English word, it's a French word. And so a lot of people use the French pronunciation of this word as the most official or most correct way to pronounce this word. But American English speakers and British English speakers might change this pronunciation a little bit to make it easier for them to say it. So they might say genre or genre or Jenner. I've even heard someone say Jenner, believe it or not. I don't accept all of these as correct pronunciations. I believe the correct one is genre, and that's already anglicized enough. And you know, a lot of languages have taken this word into their language too. So I'm interested to hear how you say this word in your language. But you know, when you're just watching this video and you're trying to say these words yourself, and I can't hear what you're saying. And I'm trying to teach you a word like genre that means a type of music or a type of art, right? Genre basically means type. I can't hear you saying the word. Even if you say the word louder right now, I can't hear it. The only way I can hear it is if you click on that link under this video and you go to our English Everyday program and we speak together live in the next lesson that's starting very soon. And that's how I can help you with your pronunciation, even more than these videos. I know you like these videos, but actually practicing and getting feedback from a professional, that is the best way to improve your English. So thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you click like, click subscribe, write those comments down below because I really do want to know what you like and which words are confusing for you. And I will see you in the next video. Take care and keep practicing. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, my name's Chris Americos, and in this video, I'm going to tell you the 15 words that English learners mispronounce all the time. So sometimes they see the word in a book and they try to read it and they mispronounce it. Sometimes they just remember learning this word at school, but when they say it, it just comes out wrong. And maybe, yes, maybe you also mispronounce these words. So I have a few different types of words that I'm going to be teaching you today. Some of them are basics, and let's start with those. The first word that I see lots of people mispronounce, or I guess I hear them mispronounce it, is the word pronunciation. And it's really funny when someone mispronounces the word pronunciation. So let's practice it together. Pronunciation. Pronunciation. 5 syllables in this word. It's a long word. But the most important syllable here, the one that people usually mispronounce, is this one that starts with N, right? Pronunciation. None. Now, when we change this word to a verb, it's the verb to pronounce. So it's different here, right? It's pronounce, but pronunciation. So usually I hear people say something like pronunciation, and this is wrong because the noun of this word is pronunciation with none, pronunciation, not the verb to pronounce. The next word that I hear a lot of people mispronounce is the word often. Now, you might hear some people say often, and even native English speakers mispronounce this all the time. So if you mispronounce it, don't feel so bad. But sometimes people say often and sometimes people say often. Which one is correct? Well, according to most dictionaries, it says that often is the more correct version. However, I've heard people say both. All right, the next one, which is very common and I hear people mispronounce all the time, it's actually 2 different words. There's either or either, and then there's neither or neither. Which one is correct? Either, neither, neither, either? Which one is it, right? Okay, let's start with the first one. This one can be either or either. They're both correct. Either, either. But what's not correct is if we say either. Either. Either is not correct. We have either, we have either, not either, not anything else. And the same with the word neither and neither. It's either E or I. Neither, neither. Okay, the next word you probably know how to pronounce, but you're probably thinking, yeah, I remember mispronouncing that before. It's the word vegetable. And if we look at the syllables in the word, it looks like it should be bigger, right? It looks like vegetable, vegetable, something like this, right? With 4 syllables. But when we pronounce it, it's only 3 syllables. Vegetable, vegetable. Okay, the next word is probably the most mispronounced word that I hear from people who are learning English. And I speak with a lot of people from all around the world every day because we have a speaking program where you can join an unlimited number of lessons every day and you can practice speaking as much as you want, and it's really cheap. So if you're interested in that, there's a link under this video. But this word really causes a lot of problems for students from all over the globe. So let's talk about it. It's the word clothes. Clothes. So the easy way to say this word is like the word close, like to close the door. Open the door, close the door, right? It's similar. It sounds similar, and when native speakers speak quickly, sometimes they sound the same. But technically, this word is pronounced a little differently, and it's difficult to say because of all of the sounds that come together. It's clothes. Now, the sound th isn't very beautiful. In fact, some people might say that English isn't a very beautiful language at all. But we're speaking it, so we need to make the best of it. So this sound at the end is very difficult to say. Th, z. It's two sounds, right? Th, z. Clothes. So if you can't say that, it's okay to say close, like close the door. Everyone will understand you. All right, next let's talk about some internet stuff. Things that we need to pronounce when we speak about different stuff on the internet. Like the word GIF. I know, sometimes people don't know how to say this word, and they say GIF because there's a G there. And they think, in English we have G and we have J, and J sounds like J all the time. But G usually sounds like G. So it must be GIF, right? Wrong. It's GIF. Think of the pronunciation rule from Latin, which we can see with Italian words and Spanish words in English. When we have G before I or E, usually it sounds like J. But when we have G before A, O, or U, usually it sounds like G. So this is GIF. Another internet word that a lot of people mispronounce is the word meme. Yeah, a meme is like a funny picture or a joke on the internet, right? You've probably seen it before, and maybe you thought, oh, that's a funny meme. No, it's not a meme, it's a meme. Yeah, a meme. Okay, the next three words are words about people who you will never meet, probably. The first one is the word flautist. Now, maybe you know some different instruments like guitar or drums, or maybe you even know how to play the flute. Right, the flute with the sound ooh. But what do you call the man or woman who plays the flute? He or she is a flautist. Not a flutist, but a flautist. Yeah, a lot of native speakers make that mistake too. Okay, the next one is a person who takes your car at an expensive restaurant. So you drive to the front of the expensive restaurant, you get out of your car, and you give this man the keys, and he parks your car for you. And then when you come out of the restaurant, you say, hey, where's my car? And he gives you the keys back, and you go home. This man is called a valet. Valet. Yeah, it's not a valet, it's a valet. There are a lot of words from French in English that are pronounced like this. If they have E-T at the end, then in many cases in English we pronounce it like A. For example, ballet or buffet or gourmet. All right, the next person who you probably will never meet because it's not even really a person, it's just a name. The next word that a lot of people mispronounce is the word pseudonym. Pseudonym. And many people mispronounce it because there's this big letter P at the beginning of the word. And so they think it's pseudonym or something like this, right? That's not correct. It's pseudonym. Pseudonym. 3 syllables. So we have pseudonym. Nym meaning name from Greek. And pseudo meaning similar to or fake, not the real thing, right? So it's something that might be similar, but it's not exactly that thing. So for example, my name is Chris. And I spell my name C-H-R-I-S. But maybe you think that I am Chris Americos. And when I write Chris Americos, which is my pseudonym, I write K-R-I-S. Interesting, right? Chris is my real name, and Chris Americos is my pseudonym. It's my stage name. All right, let's talk about a few other words that people usually mispronounce. The next one is a type of schedule or schedule. What's the difference? Well, schedule is American English and schedule is British English. The word is written the same but pronounced differently. But we're not talking about schedule or schedule. We're talking about itinerary. A lot of people have trouble pronouncing this word because it's really long. And an itinerary is a type of schedule for your plans. We use this word a lot when we talk about traveling. Like if you're going to be flying on an airplane to a few different cities, we might ask, what is your flight itinerary? It's like, what is the plan of your travel or the schedule of when you will land in the first city and then fly to the next city? So it's a kind of schedule or schedule. The next word is a type of fish. And when I go to restaurants, I always hear people mispronounce this, even native speakers, which is very surprising because it's a very common word. It's the word salmon. Salmon. Yeah, it's pronounced salmon, and you might be confused because you're saying, Chris, in the middle of the word, I see the letter L. And why aren't you saying it? That's because the letter L in the word salmon is silent. Shh. Yeah, it's a silent L. We say salmon. We do not say salmon. No, 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 no. We should say salmon. The next word also has a silent letter, but this time it's a silent B. It's the word subtle. Subtle. If something is subtle, it's not clear. It's not a big announcement. It's a little sneaky, maybe. Maybe it's a secret. If someone does something subtly, then this means that they do it without a lot of people noticing. All right, our next word that people always mispronounce is the word stomach. Yeah, my stomach is full right now, so I'm happy. But a lot of people make me unhappy when they pronounce this word stomach or stomach or something else like this. This makes me really unhappy. But it makes me really happy when people say stomach. Stomach. Yeah, that's how you say that word. Okay, the very last word that we're going to talk about today is in a category of words that I call important. It's a very important word, and a lot of people mispronounce it, and sometimes it's really funny. In fact, I remember a situation when someone in my class mispronounced this word. I'll tell you that story in one moment. So, this very important word that lots of people mispronounce is important. Yeah, for some reason, a lot of people mispronounce the word important. And it's usually because of the stress in the word. Right? There are 3 syllables. Important. And we need to stress, say harder than the rest of the word. We need to stress the second syllable of the word. Poor. Important. But some people stress the first syllable. And that's a mistake. For example, I was teaching a class and a girl answered my question and she made this mistake and it was funny. So I'm going to tell you about this story. I asked, "What does your father do?" And she wanted to tell me that her father is very important. He has an important job. He's an important man. And she said, "My father is a very impotent man." Now, this was very funny because she stressed the first syllable, im. She did not stress the second syllable, poor, right? It should be important. He's an important man. But she said, he's an important man. And this sounds like the word impotent. And an impotent man is probably not something that you want to say about your father. So that's a very important word to pronounce correctly. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Chris Americos Explains Words That Are Always Mispronounced. I'll be back with another one very soon. Hey everybody, Chris Americos here with another video for you, and in this video we're going to talk about words that a lot of people mispronounce. Yeah, that means that they say them wrong. They say the wrong sounds. And usually it's because some of these sounds are very difficult to say. And all of the words that we're going to talk about today have the letter R in them. Yeah, and for some of you, you might be thinking, oh great, this sound, it's really hard to make, it's hard to pronounce. And the letter R is really difficult because different people in different places who speak different types of English pronounce the letter R differently in some words. So let's get right into it and talk about the letter R. Now, in American English, usually we use the rhotic R, and this means R sounds like And you've probably heard this in many places and in many films and music and different songs. So R is pronounced like this in many places, and you might think that this is the only English R sound, but that's not true. There are actually a few different R sounds in English. And in the northern part of the United Kingdom, and especially in some parts of Scotland, some people roll their R's. Now, what does that mean? If I say that someone rolls their R's, or if I say, I can't roll my R's, what does that mean? It means rrrr. Yeah, when you say this sound, in English we say to roll your R's. And if you can't do this, that's okay in English because most people don't speak like that. But there are some English speakers who roll their R's. And that doesn't mean that they're speaking incorrectly. Some English accents have this sound. Now, you might also notice that in many places that speak British English, R is silent at the end of a word. And it's only at the end of a word. At the beginning of a word, all English speakers must pronounce this letter and must say this sound. So R is not always silent in one type of English or another. But in most British English accents, the R at the end of the word is silent. It's not pronounced. And it's not only British English, it's also other accents too. For example, in American English, in the New York accents or Boston accent, you don't really hear the R at the end of the word either. And there's something else that's interesting that happens with the letter R in these accents, that sometimes R is put into a word where there is no R. So let me give you some examples right now. So here are some regular, there's a good word that starts with R, right? Regular words that start with the letter R. Like road, and ride, and rug, and red, and regular. And I think that when I say this sound, I think that I sound like a pirate. You know, the guy who's on a ship and has long hair and a beard and takes things from other ships. I mean, you know what a pirate is. But I think that saying this sound in English usually makes us sound like a pirate. This is maybe a stereotype that I have about pirates or the letter R. So these words start with R and they sound like and most accents in English will say and some will say r. Now, there are other words that have R also. For example, the word rural. This has two R's, and this is more difficult to pronounce, right? Because, first of all, we have the sound, and then we have this this vowel sound. So it's rural. So it's not just r, but also rural. Rural. And what does rural mean? Rural is the opposite of urban. What is urban? Urban is about cities, and rural is about the country. It's about areas that are away from the city. It's about agricultural areas. You know, rural is about something like farms, and urban is about cities. Great. Another one that's difficult to say is drawer. Drawer. And no, this is not the person who draws, although it looks like this, right? So why isn't it drawer? Well, a drawer is a place where we can keep some things. We can put something inside, we can take it out. It's similar to a cupboard. And different people who speak English with different accents will actually pronounce this word differently. So there's drawer, and then there's drawer, and then there's just drawer, and then there's also drawer, right? So all of these could be a correct way to pronounce this because the first R is like and it's also combined with D. So in some accents, people will say a sound like J, like drawer. And other accents, people will say drawer with a D-er. But this last R at the end of the word here, it might be silent in some accents. Now, next we have the word plural. Plural. Here, the R is very important, and most people do not make this R silent. There's no reason to make this R silent. It will change how it sounds and people won't understand you. So we must say this R sound. It's in the middle of the word. Usually, the only silent R's are at the end of the word. Now, another word that's difficult for some people to pronounce is rarely. Rarely. Because here again, we have two R sounds. Two R's in this word. Rarely. Great. And what does rarely mean? Rarely is the opposite of often. So if you do something every day, then you do it often. If you do something one time a year, then you do it rarely. Okay, let's go to some other words, some bigger words with the letter R. We have the word temperature. Temperature. So this word is difficult for some people to pronounce because in different accents it will sound different. For example, some people with some accents will say temperature. This is 4 syllables, 4 sounds in this word. But other people will say temperature with 3 syllables. Also, we have 2 R sounds here. And the middle R, we must say but the last R might be soft or silent, right? So some people might say temperature, and some people might say temperature. And it's just this sound at the end of the word without an sound, right? Okay, the next is library. Library. Now, library has 2 R's, and 1 R is near the end of the word, but it's not part of the last sound, right? It's not the last sound. The last sound is not so it's not silent. The last sound is re. E is the last sound. So we must say it in both places. We must say library. The next word is choir. Choir. And this one is difficult for some people to understand when they hear a person say it, because it sounds really different in different accents. First of all, it's O-I, but we say w, right? This is a French spelling rule that we took into English and we use. So this word is choir, choir. And remember that I'm American, and my American accent says that I should say at the end, choir. But in many British accents, you'll hear something like choir, choir, and the R is silent. Okay, our last word for today is regularly. Regularly. So we already talked about regular, and this is regularly. So regularly means something like usually, normally. And regularly, I say the sound right? But other people might not in some words. So these are some examples of words that have the letter R and the sounds that they make. I hope that this video has been helpful for you, and if you would like to learn more about pronunciation, grammar, and everything else about the English language, you should press like, press subscribe, and leave a comment under this video so I know that I should make more of them. Today we're going to be talking about 10 words that are commonly mispronounced. That's 10 words that people say the wrong way very often. And I've noticed that a lot of learners of English mispronounce these words, but also sometimes native speakers mispronounce these words too, and that makes it even more confusing. Hey everybody, Christopher here from chrisamericos.com, and a special thanks to everyone in the English Everyday community. But before we jump in, I have to say that we need to understand what it means to be correct or incorrect. This is not really about being fluent, it's just about your accuracy in speaking the language. So when native speakers are just speaking and not thinking about how they speak, a lot of times they will make mistakes. They will say things that do not follow the standard rules of English. And so some of the examples I'm going to give you in this video will show you that native speakers sometimes mispronounce these words too. So let's jump in. The first word that so many people mispronounce is a month of the year. It's the second month of the year. It's February.
February.
Now, this word isn't really so confusing because you just pronounce all of the letters that are in the word. But the thing is that some native speakers forget or don't know that there is an R in this word. And they will misspell this word and they'll mispronounce this word. I've heard many native speakers say February instead of February. And when they write it, they might forget that there's an R and write it without the R.
February.
So that's why this word is very commonly confused or mispronounced or misspelled, and it makes it hard for people who are learning English.
February.
February 16th.
The second word that so many people mispronounce is this time when you don't have rain. The time period when you don't have rain is called a drought.
No, drought! Drought!
But you can see from how this word is spelled that there's a G and an H, and we don't pronounce them, right? Crazy English. Why don't you pronounce those letters? Well, that's how we say it, drought. So if you pronounce the G and the H, then it's going to sound very strange, and people might not understand you.
During a drought.
All right, our next word is a type of food. It's something that you can eat. And honestly, I didn't know about this word for a long time. I had never eaten this kind of food before. And the first time that I saw it, I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. And I heard how other people pronounced it. And now I'm going to tell you. So this is quinoa.
And what's this? Quinoa.
Quinoa?
Quinoa. And it's confusing because Q usually has a U after it, usually makes the sound qu, like in question, right? But here it doesn't have a U, and it sounds like k, like a K. And also, usually English words that end with OA are pronounced OA at the end, not WA. So this word is quinoa, but we have the word boa, which is a type of snake, which is BOA, boa, not boa. And we have a city in India, Goa, not Goa. So this word is pronounced a little differently, and that makes it confusing. This word is quinoa.
Get your quinoa.
So now we're on our fourth word that is commonly mispronounced. And this word describes a place outside of the city, an area of land where there are farms. And it's not a city. In a city, we use the word urban to talk about things in the city or things that are made for or designed for the city. But when we talk about things that are made for and designed for farm areas and agricultural areas, we call that area a rural area.
Rural.
Rural.
Now, this word is difficult for many people to pronounce because of the R sound, and we have that sound twice in this word. So we have rural at the beginning and in the middle. Say it with me. Rural. I noticed that a lot of people couldn't pronounce this word when I was teaching lessons, and we had the question, do you prefer urban areas or rural areas? You can answer that question right now too. Go to the comments and write your answer to that question. Do you prefer urban areas or rural areas? And that basically means, do you like living in the city or do you like living outside of the city? I personally prefer living in an urban area, not a rural area.
Of rural America.
Okay, word number 5 that is commonly mispronounced is a type of behavior. It's when a child is doing something that they shouldn't do, or being naughty, or not following the rules, or teasing their brother or sister. Can you tell I have kids? This word is mischievous.
Mischievous.
Mischievous. But you'll hear some native speakers pronounce it a little differently. In fact, growing up, I heard this word pronounced differently, and I didn't learn that the correct pronunciation was mischievous until later in my life. So when I was a child, I didn't say mischievous, I said mischievous. He's a mischievous child. But later I learned that the correct way to pronounce it is mischievous. He's a mischievous child. So you might hear people say mischievous or mischievous, and that can be confusing.
They're just being mischievous. Mischievous and deceitful.
Our next word that is commonly mispronounced is a feeling that you have in your body. It's when you feel like you're gonna be sick, but you're not quite there yet. This word is nauseous.
Nauseous.
Now, this word is confusing because when you see it written, there are a lot of vowels and letters together that you don't know. They could make different sounds, right? And the letter S usually makes the S sound before the letter E, not the sound sh. So this word is a little confusing, and again, it's pronounced nauseous. For example, she felt nauseous and she had to leave the room.
Nauseous. I'm physically nauseous.
The next word that many people mispronounce describes how tall you are. So you can ask someone, how tall are you? Or you can ask, what is your height?
My height?
Yes, this word is pronounced height. And sometimes it's confusing because people who are learning English might pronounce it like hate. But hate is a different word. We don't hate here, we only love. And nobody wants to know about your hate. They're more interested in your height. So again, you can ask someone, how tall are you? Or you can ask someone, what is your height?
Such as height, strength, attractiveness.
Our 8th word that is very commonly mispronounced is a weapon. It's something that you can cut with, and a knight or a samurai might have this. It's a sword. That's right, we don't pronounce W in this word. A sword. But many of my students make the mistake of pronouncing this word like sword, including the sound of the W. You shouldn't do that. This W is silent. We don't say it. So this word is sword.
Sword.
The 9th word that many people mispronounce is a word about not having money. Well, actually, this is when you owe money to someone else. We can say he owes money, or we can say he is in debt.
The enormous debt.
Yes, it's pronounced debt. We don't say the B in this word. And that's the mistake here. A lot of learners of English will say debt, and we don't pronounce B. You don't say that. People usually won't understand that. So instead, you need to say debt. The B is silent. And I hope you never find yourself in debt.
Credit card debt. Credit card debt.
And now our last word that's commonly mispronounced. You might be surprised by this because it's a very small word. I think it's a very simple word, but I hear so many people make mistakes with this word. And the word is suit.
An Armani suit?
Take the suit.
It's something that usually men wear to look nice, to go to a formal event. It's a suit. So yeah, the I doesn't really get pronounced in this word. The U is long, suit. And sometimes people mix this word up with a special room in a hotel. That special room in a hotel is called a suite. It has an E at the end of the word, and it's also very confusing, and many people mispronounce it. And that's suite, not suit. A suit is something that men wear. A suite is a special room in a hotel.
I'm not wearing a suit.
Lesson 2, get a suit.
Now I hope you understand how to pronounce these 10 words so you don't make the funny mistakes that I've made and my students have made. I really hope this lesson helps you improve your pronunciation. And if you really want to improve your pronunciation, what you need to do is practice speaking with real people. And guess what? You can do that. Under this video, there's a link to our English Everyday community. And when you join that community, you get to practice speaking English with real people from around the world and native teachers who correct your mistakes. So if you really want to improve your pronunciation, that is the best way to do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.